Hi everybody, this is Keith Scott-Mumby and I'm author of a book called Virtual Medicine. You may have seen the first edition. Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a new edition. See, the completely new cover, still called the same, Virtual Medicine, meaning medicine in the virtual or the cyber domain. One of the ways I think of this is like Dr. Kildare meets Chinese medicine in cyberspace. It's really all about energy medicine, the science behind energy medicine. And I reveal in this book some absolutely amazing facts. For example, that you can hitch a person to a machine called an AccuVision. You turn down the lights, switch on the machine, and you can see light. You can see blue photons streaming out of the person's skin at the point where the acupuncture points are. How did the Chinese know this 2,000 years ago? They didn't have modern electronic devices. Well, the fact is that they did. There's a lot of science like that. It's not just that we know acupuncture works, but take another experiment, for example, done by a man called Pierre DeVaughn in Paris in the 80s. He injected radioactive technetium-99 into what were the acupuncture meridians, and he saw it track along the meridian. It flowed up there at about 30 centimeters an hour. That's pretty fast. Didn't follow any blood vessels or any nerves. All it did was follow what the Chinese describe as a meridian. Anyway, I want to tell you there's some exciting new material in this book. First of all, I've devoted a whole chapter to the exciting Russian machine, the Scanar. I launched the term Star Trek Medicine with the first edition of this book, Virtual Medicine. Star Trek Medicine, when a small handheld device about the size of a TV remote can work as a miracle healing device. It's capable of defibrillating somebody who's in a cardiac arrest, and it can cure all kinds of health conditions. Well, you know, I'm sure I shouldn't say cure, the FDA won't be happy with that. But it can treat and effectively remove the symptoms, okay, which to me is good enough. Lots of new material though in this book. The second edition, one of the chapters, for example, is called The Non-Material Nature of Substances and Medicines. This is a lecture I've been giving around the world. It's a fascinating lecture showing that material substance, or what the scientists would call a weighable rest mass of the substance, does not need to be present for it to have an effect. The obvious argument is homeopathy. There's nothing there. It's so dilute, there's no molecules left. We don't argue with that. We know that that's true. But what we say is there's still a measurable clinical effect, and I cite you some examples. There's graphs, there's trials, studies published in the Lancet, no less. So people that say homeopathy doesn't work, it's just bunk, they're out of touch. But there's another phenomenon called cyclotron resonance, and I show you studies where giving cyclotron resonance, that's electromagnetic signals of a substance, actually produce the same effect as the physical presence of the substance. But there's nothing there. And then I prove this hypothesis a third time by showing that you can transmit the digital signatures of a chemical substance. You can actually do it as an email attachment, or you can send it around the world on the internet, and when it's decoded at the other end, it has exactly the same pharmacological effect as the substance, but again, there's no substance there. The whole premise of the book is that biological life is not stuff. The biochemical model, molecular biology, all that stuff is marginal. It's got nothing to do with the real nature of substance and being. That in fact the whole universe is made up of energy and information. That stuff, you know, the physical things that you touch, stuff, is really a trivial part. In fact, one Nobel laureate for physics said it's only 1/1000th of the actual makeup of the cosmos. So relatively speaking, it's irrelevant. We're all information and energy. And what's exciting is that advanced physics doesn't just say all these strange alternative medicine things could happen, or they could be true. What it actually says, advanced physics says that it must happen. For example, we must survive after death. There isn't any question. There's no argument. We must survive after death as an energy and information system. And I've collected some absolutely astonishing evidence and material in the last but one chapter of this book of communication from long dead electromagnetic energies. I say electromagnetic energies because they can actually appear on machines, on tape recordings, Their images will appear on a television if you know how to go about doing this, and I tell you how to do it, by the way, in the book. There have even been telephone calls from long dead people, and I'm not talking woo-woo or silly witnesses that have made up stories. I'm talking about recognizable documentation. One of the cases, for example, who spoke was a man who was dead for 14 years, but he was able to give his social security number, say where his birth and death certificates were. He held a two-way conversation with somebody who's still alive, who had a machine called a Spiricom. I tell the whole story in this book. It's a fascinating tract on the real scientific, and it's all science, right? Everything I say here is backed up by scientific studies and proofs. The scientific proof at last that energy medicine is here to stay, that energy medicine of the future isn't going to be some kind of watery Chinese makeover. It's going to be Western energy medicine, technologically brilliant, with electromagnetic machines. They already exist. I told you there's a machine that will show light streaming out of acupuncture points. There are machines that produce, they can diagnose things just based, they can listen to the tissues and hear a radio signal of, that's rabies, or I hear cancer of the breast. That's the kind of radio transmission. It's all in here. There's lots of documentation. There are diagrams to explain it all. And if you've ever been interested in energy medicine and the alternatives to just physical stuff like cutting and burning and giving drugs, then I'm sure you'll find this book absolutely fascinating. Get yourself a copy. You can do that by going to the website virtualmedicine.alternative-doctor.com. Excuse me. My name's Keith Scott-Mumby, and I'm the founder of the website alternative-doctor.com. So for this book, again, and you'll see it on the screen, virtualmedicine.alternative-doctor.com. Don't forget the dash, otherwise you end up with somebody else's website. Listen, get this book. It's one of the greatest. It's a whole big paradigm shift in medicine. It's one of the best and most exciting books you're ever going to read if you believe in alternative medicine and you're interested in the future of holism, that you're tired of drugs, you don't believe in all this conventional medicine baloney where they go shocking and burning and hacking away at tissues and poisoning you with drugs. This is a completely different medical system that I've called virtual medicine. Thank you very much.